Okay, now you're welcome to lesson 2. In this lesson, you're going to dive into more of calculations and formulas. Now, let's name this sheet. So let's rename this sheet. So you rename it and give it a name as game. Game. Then we create another sheet, and this sheet will be our settings. So that's where we're going to do the settings for the game. So that would be the settings. Okay, so with the settings, let's select the B1 and type speed. Okay, then the next one will be status. Then you go to count. Okay, count. Okay, then let's go to A2. Type apple here. Then you go to A3, then you type arrow. So we are going to do the settings for the arrow here. This arrow here, the arrow that we are going to shoot here. Then the ball, the apple on the tree. So that's what you're going to do the settings for. Okay, now let's go to the settings again. So under the speed for apple, you type 1 there. Then if the speed for apple is 1, then we need to create a formula to calculate the arrow speed. So you're going to use equal to the the value here, the value at B2, which is the for apple, which is B2. Then you multiply it by the speed that you want to go. So let's say if you want it to be 2.5, you can just multiply by 2.5 and hit on enter. So the moment the speed of the person changes to 2, then you see that the arrow speed is also to go to 5. So that's how it is. Now let's enter the one there again. Then the status. The status is when a button is clicked. So the arrow, in the default status, let's use stop. Check the spelling and the case sensitive. So let you check everything. If it's capital, make sure you do capital and the small letters too. Then the count, the apple count, that is the default settings. What we are doing is the default settings. So the apple count, when the game starts, the apple count is always what? 0. That's this count. It's always 0 here, and the arrow count is 10. That's what we are doing for now. So the arrow count is what? Is 10. Good. Now let's go to the game. See that the speed, we created a combo box here. We need to insert the combo box. We need to create a list for it. So we need to make a reference to a cell. So let's go to this column here and type low. Then medium. Then high. So you can also use your own words for this. Okay, so we have done the 4 settings here. Okay, let's go back to the game sheet again. Now we need to name some arrows and some features here. So let's start with this one. Let's start from this arrow here. So this arrow, because we copied it, the name is already there. So you can change yours. If you are using your own pictures, you can change it. For me, because I copied it from an already developed system. So the name is already there. So you can just change the name, but you can maintain it. So for me, the name for the arrow, this arrow, the arrow that you are going to shoot is arrow 1. Okay. Then for this arrow here, I think we need to give it also a name. So we can name this one to okay. Let's leave that one for now and move forward. Then with this one we don't need a name again. Okay, so let's go to the apple on the tree. The apple on the tree, we also need to give it a name. So let's check. Okay, the name is there. So the name is what? Apple on tree. Okay, apple underscore on underscore tree. You have the name there. Then you also need to name this apple here, apple with the arrow. So that once we name it apple with the arrow. Good. Okay, so now we are going to create a macro for the reset button. We're going to create macro for all the buttons here, but we're going to start with the reset button here for this lesson. So let's go to the developer tab, then click on Visual Basic. So when the Visual Basic opens, you go to Insert. And before that, you need to make sure your project is selected. The project you're working on. So my project is selected here. So this is the project I'm working on. It is selected here. So you go to Insert, then you go to Model. Okay, so you're going to add the model here. So we see that the model is added here. So we start with creating a variable. So the first variable we're going to create is dim in Visual Basic or Visual Basic for application. When you see dim, we're going to declare a variable. We start with a dim, that's dimension. We're going to create a dimension for the variable. So dim, which is dimension, then the variable name is what we want to use. It's optional. Me, I want to use WSH. You can use a different name. You can even use letters. But one thing you must note here, you can't use numbers for variables, numbers and symbols for variables. So take note of that. Then we have WH as our variable. So we are going to declare this variable as a worksheet. As a worksheet. I think the worksheet is there. Okay, let me type. Okay, it's there. So as a worksheet. Then we declare another variable again. That is the game sheet. So for me, I'll give this variable game sh. Game worksheet, so that I can remember the name. Then declare that one also as worksheet. Okay. Now the next variable we are going to create is the arrow. So we create dim arrow as a shape. So the arrow that we see on our system, we are going to declare them as a shape. So the system will take them as a shape. Okay, then the apple to the same, so dim apple as shape. Good. Now the next thing you're going to do now is we are going to create a sub procedure for the reset. So you type sub, then reset. Yeah, that's a reset. No, reset. It's reset. So let's give a space here. Let's space this one here. So for every sub there must be an ending sub. So reset and the open bracket and the closing bracket will be here. So the coding will be in between these subs, the starting stub and the ending sub. So the first thing we are going to do, we have created a variable here, but you need to give them a value. The variable that you are creating, you need to give them a value. So the first variable is WSH. So we want to set it. So let's set it. Let's set it to is equal to this workbook. This workbook dot sheet so we want to say that the variable which is WSH should be or should represent the sheet which is settings. The settings sheet. So when you go to the Excel work that we are doing, say you have two sheets, the settings and the game sheet. So we are saying that WSH, which is the variable that we declared, should be equal to that sheet. So that's the name we give to the sheet. So that's what we have declared dot sheet. Then you open your bracket, then you bring your quotation marks, then you give the name of that sheet. So if you look at the right side here, let me close this so that you can see it clearly. So from the right side, you see there are two sheets here. The naming, check the naming very well. They are case sensitive. When I say case sensitive, I mean letters in capitals are different from the lowercase. So take note of that. So with this, we are going to type settings in capital letters. So let's type the settings here. Then you close the quotation, then you close the bracket. Okay. Then we also need to set the other variable to, which is game WSH. Okay. To also be equal to this workbook. Dot sheet, then you open your bracket, quotation, then the name of that sheet. So the name was what? Game. Then you close it, you close this one too. Good. So we have now set our values for the variables here. So we left with this variable to apple and arrow. So let's set that one to. So set apple, which is the variable. Let's start with arrow. Arrow is equal to. You set it to be equal to. So now let's see something. See that from the work that we did, I gave names to it. See, we said the arrow. The arrow here, we gave it the name as what? Arrow 1. So that means the variable that we set, which is the arrow variable, should be equal to this sheet, or sorry, this shape or this arrow. That's why we gave it the name arrow. So this is what you are going to type in the coding side. Let's go to the coding side and type to be equal to this work. So let's copy this. Sorry, no, we don't need to copy that. Let's okay. So we set that one to game WSH, which is the variable. So you are now inserting this variable because now we are telling the code, or you are telling the system that anywhere you see game WSHS, it should be the sheet which is what the game sheet. So the arrows that we are talking about is also found on the game sheet. That's why we are starting with this variable. So game sheet dot the shape. But we declare it as a shape, so I'm not dealing with shapes. Then you open the bracket, then the quotation, then you give the name of the sheet. So the name of the shape. So we name it as arrow 1. So let's close this one and close this one. Okay, no, let's change the number. The name here is arrow. Only the A is capital. Okay, so let's take note of that. Then you set the other one to, which is the apple. Yes, the apple. To you set it to apple is also found on the same sheet. So game WSH dot shape. Then you open your brackets, open your quotation, then the name of the apple. So let's go back and check the name and see. Okay, so the apple is here. So the name was what? Apple. So let's come and copy this one, apple on tree. Let's copy this one here, then go and paste it on our code. Okay, then you paste it here, then you close everything. Okay, so we have now declared, or we have now set our variables with their values. Now the next thing you're going to do now is there's another shape that we did not declare, which is what, or we did not set a value for it. So we can let's add that one here. So let's dim it. Let's use SP. Let's use SP as shape. Okay, so we can now. So now let's set that one too, and that one is the apple with the arrow. So set SP is equal to, let's copy this code here, and let's copy and come and paste. Then we go to the Excel sheet. Let's go to the Excel sheet and then check the name that we gave to that object. It is it. So let's cut it and come in to this one, then you copy. Then let's go back to our VBA code screen and then select apple on tree here, then we paste. So the name is apple with arrow. Okay, so we are through with that. Okay, so now this is what you're going to do again. The next thing you're going to do is you want to set the locations of the various objects. So first of all, let's start with the arrow. So we are going to check the location of the arrow. So arrow. So let's go here. Let's go to the sheet. So we're going to check the arrow of the position of this arrow, of this object here. So we want it to be here. So we have seen the position here. So let's go and code it. But before that, we need to check the position, where the position is. So we're going to use message box to declare it. So let's type msg box so that it will display the location for us. So the msg box arrow dot top. So this line of code is not part of our system, not part of our game, but we want to use it for something. We want it to show the distance from the top here, the distance from the top here to where the arrow is, that is arrow top. So let's run the code and see what will happen. So click on the run button here. This is the run button here. So let's run it. Let's place the arrow here and the cursor here and run it. Okay, so the position is 315.7, so we are going to use 315. So now we can now delete the message box here and then equate it to 315. That is the position of the arrow on the top. So we need to also check the arrow from the left, the position from the arrow from the left. So arrow from the left. So let me show you where we are talking about. That from the left side here to the position of this arrow, you need to check that one too. So we need to use the message box to help us check the location. So message box, then you have the arrow dot left, then you run it. Okay, so that one also is 54. So let's delete the message box here, then you equate it to 54. Good. So we are through with the position of the initial position of the arrow. Now the next thing is what? The position of the apple. So we are going to use the same format to check for the positions of the apple on the tree. So message box apple dot top. Okay. Then you run it. Okay, there's a mistake here. Okay, we need to add X. Okay. So that one too is 23. So let's delete this one and then equate it to 23. Then the next one to message box apple dot left. And then we run that one too. Okay, so 609. So the position is 609. So anytime try to ignore the decimals and deal with the main value 609. Okay, so now through with that. Now the next thing is what the arrow with the apple with the arrow. So that one was SP. The variable was SP. So SP dot top. Okay, so that one too. Let's check the location or the position. Okay, so before we run it, let's go and position it at where you want it to be. Okay, so our listing here, but we don't want it to be here. I want it to hide, so you can place it somewhere here. Okay, so this is where we want it to be. Now we can run it. So we go back to your code and then you run it, and that's the location 602. Okay, so you equate it to 602. Then you delete this one. Then the same object dot left. Then you bring the message box, messaging box. Okay, so let's run that one too. It says 50. Okay, so that one too says 50. Equate it to 650. Okay, so we are now through with the initial positions of the variables. Now the next thing we are going to do is we need to set the range. You see that from our settings sheet we made some settings there that initial position is what? Here is stop and here should be stop. So we need to add this range to our settings or our reset button or our micro. So we're going to enter this line code WSH dot the range that we want to use. So which range are we going to use? So let's check the range and see the cell. Okay, so the first one is C. We are dealing with this, the status. So C2 and C3, that's what we are dealing with. So let's go back to our code and click the range. So the range, you open your bracket, then you bring your quotation, and the range is C2 column C3, and you close everything. Dot value should be equal to stop. So we are telling the code that when you click on the reset button, that range all should be stop. Then we still want to say that the WSH, which is what the worksheet, the settings worksheet dot range, making reference to that dot range. Then you open your bracket again, then you need to set another range for the values, that's the values for the arrows and the value for the the apple, initial value for them. So the apple is D2 and the arrow is D3. So that's what we are going to do for now. So the range, we set the range to D2, then give it the value is equal to 0. Then let's copy this line of code here. Let's copy and then paste and change this one to D3 and change this one to 10. Good. So we are now through with our coding here. So the next thing we are going to do, let's go back to before we run this, let's go back to our sheet again. Okay, so we need to do some settings today so that when you click on it, the drop down list will appear. So let's go to the design. Let's click on the developer tab and make sure the design tab is what? The design mode is selected. Then you come and right click on the combo box, then you click on format control. Then when the format control dialog box appears, the input range, you click on the settings sheet, then go and select the whole range from here. Then you come and hit on OK. Now let's click on see that when you click on it, everything is now working for us. Okay. Now the next thing you're going to do for end this lesson is to assign the reset button to the macro that we just created. So you just come and click on this reset button, then you right click, then you click on assign macro. So you go to your macros in all open. No, don't want that. We want this workbook alone. So we have created only one macro, which is the reset macro. So just click on the reset macro, then you click on what? Okay. Now let's do something here. So now that means when the arrow starts to move, let's say the arrow is now moving, and you click on reset, you should send it back to the initial location. Let's say the apple is also moving, and you click on reset, you should send it to the initial location. So that's how we do the reset. So that is the reset part. Okay, so we end here, and in the next video we are going to do this macro for the other buttons. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more tutorials. God bless you. Bye bye.